Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. Over the next couple of days we are going to be tackling all of the new releases that I've gotten this year, which is quite a few. I pre-ordered so many new releases and I didn't read any of them even though I was so excited for them. So we're going to try to read a couple of them before we come around to the new year. We have, you can see them, they're right up here. We have Bare Bones of the Midnight Soil, My Friends, Wild Reverence, Catabasis, and Gifted and Talented. And then I started earlier today Alchemy of Secrets, which I am having a blast. This book is giving me whiplash in the best way possible. We're following Holland, who is kind of giving the impression of being an unreliable narrator because she doesn't know what's true or what's false and like who to trust in her life. So us as the reader, we don't know who to trust. I'm having a ton of fun with that. And then it all starts with her taking a folklore class that can only be heard about through word of mouth. So you kind of have to hunt it down. And if you hear about it, you hear about it. And you learn about a bunch of folklore and myths and stuff. And she doesn't really know if they're true. She wants them to be true. Like she wants to have something to believe in. And then she's on a date and she sees something that kind of seems like it's from one of those myths, and then she kind of just gets thrown into this whole world of myths and folklore. She doesn't know what's going on, and she realizes how many people are truly invested in this, and she basically finds out that if she doesn't find this alchemical heart, she's going to die. And we have like a day, like 24-hour time span, maybe a little over 24 hours. So if she doesn't find it, she's gonna die. There's a lot more going on than just that. Our main character, her name is Holland. She has a twin sister named January, and their parents were famous in Hollywood. Mostly, their dad was a director and their mom was an actress, but they're mostly famous for how they died, and it's because their mom shot their dad and then shot herself. Holland believes it has something to do with them making a deal with the devil. So there's so much going on, but I find myself wanting to keep reading to figure out like what on earth am I reading? Who can she trust? Who can't she trust? Can she even trust her own sister? Like, what is going on with that? Holland's kind of finding out that her parents were really involved, or her dad at least was really involved with stuff, and there's a ton going on. She's with someone that she doesn't know if she can trust. He claims that she can, but you don't know. We don't know who we can trust. She keeps having, like, hallucinations almost, but you don't know if it's a hallucination or not. I don't know, because, like, there's magic. So things are crazy, and I'm very excited to see what's going to keep happening. So I'm going to keep reading. Probably going to end up finishing this tonight. I started it this morning, and I don't want to put it down. I want to know what's happening, and I know there's another book, so I'm sure it's going to leave on a cliffhanger. But I am having a great time. I've been reading for quite some time. I have like 50 pages left, and I don't know what's going on. I am so confused. I've never been this confused with a book. I literally cannot put it down because what on earth is going on? Like, what is happening? I'm so confused because this girl doesn't even know. She doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know who she's with. She keeps switching it up. What is going on? I don't understand. My mind is blown because page after page it's just like plot twist after plot twist, and I'm like, what is going on? I forgot to say this before, but earlier on in the book, you're in third person with Holland, and that's how you're following her, and then you get second person where it makes it feel like you're taking the professor's folklore class, which is pretty interesting. Now I just don't know what's happening at all. We don't have much left, and there's a whole other book, so there's gonna be no resolutions, and I'm gonna be confused for at least a year until the rest of this comes out, and I don't even know where to begin. This book is insane because everyone's like, you can't trust them, trust me, and then someone that they're saying don't trust is like, no, you can only trust me. Oh, what I wanted to say is we're on like a scavenger hunt pretty much, which is reminding me of the inheritance schemes in like the slightest bit of how the main girl in there is trying to solve things like through these like games and hunting things down and whatever, and that's kind of what's happening in here. That part is really fun, and seeing her like put the clues together and figure out what she's supposed to be figuring out. I don't understand. I feel like everyone knows something that she doesn't know, or that she just can't remember, because she keeps saying some people feel really familiar and she just can't remember them. Where have you seen these people before? I'm so confused. I'm gonna finish these next few pages because I cannot put this down and I want to see what the end's gonna give us, and we'll see how much more confused I am at the end. Also, something that I forgot to say is that this book practically takes place within like a day, and it keeps confusing me because I honestly don't know if I've ever read a book that takes place like within a day. So I'm like, oh, that happened days ago, but then she's like, I saw that person last night, and I'm like, last night? You've been through so much in a day. What do you mean that was only last night? Anyways. Officially finished Alchemy of Secrets, and I'm so confused still on who to trust because the way the last sentences, I'm still confused. I don't understand what is going on. This book is just like a whirlwind and so much unexpected things, but I had so much fun. I literally devoured this. I read it in a day. It was so fascinating. I did not want to put it down. I think like folklore is so interesting, so I think that's part of why I really didn't want to put this down. Just following Holland and her trying to figure these things out, what's wrong with her, what's going on, was so interesting. And I would definitely recommend this, especially if you like the Inheritance games, but it also gives Once Upon a Broken Heart vibes. If you've read those books, you'll know, with memories, if you know what I mean. But I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I had a really good time and I really didn't want to put it down, so I think this will sit out 4 stars. I'm gonna think about it a little bit because I literally just finished it. Okay, my camera just died. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what I want to read next. I will update you guys when I make that decision because I don't know what I'm in the mood for. That was so much fun, and I haven't read a book where I really didn't want to put it down in a really long time. I think we're gonna stick with a 4-star because I had a really good time, and I'm very intrigued what the next book is going to be about. This doesn't end on some crazy cliffhanger. It leaves you curious and wondering. There's nothing like super unresolved, but there's still some stuff where I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? And I would love to have some answers. Also, I'm not sure if this is going to be a duology or a trilogy, and I would love to know because I love duologies more than trilogies. I just think duologies are like the perfect length for a series, especially this. I don't know how this could be dragged out into 3 books. For now, I might pick up another book. I might end up reading, is it Fearful? By Lauren Roberts, just the novella that she put out, because I'm curious and I would love a quick short book because I feel like the other new releases I have are also going to be a lot, so we'll see. This is like so unrelated to, I got a print from Etsy and look at how cute it is. Can you see that? Oh, here we go. Literally adorable. I'm obsessed. And it came with this little thing, a little, can you see that? Is it focused? It is. Okay, that, and it has a little note, and I just thought that is so sweet. I love ordering stuff from Etsy because you always get like a handwritten thank you note, and I love that. That's why I love Etsy. Anyway, sidetracked again. We will chat later. So it's the next day and I'm still thinking about Alchemy of Secrets. I was able to picture this book so easily in my head that I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is that show that I was watching? And I was like, no, that was the book, which is just insane. I love when that happens, but then also I like miss it. because I just want to watch it, but obviously I can't because it was just my own imagination. But I did decide what book I wanted to read next. So we are going to read Fearful, which I think is the last book coming out in the whole Powerless world. It should be the last book. I think she rode this wave a little too long, but I really enjoyed Powerful, which followed, what's her name? Adina? I don't remember, but I really like that, honestly, better than the rest of the story. So I'm curious about this one. It gives us more backstory on Kit, which will be very interesting. And it's super quick. This is a small book, and it's like 200 pages, so probably just going to read that today. This came out just a little bit ago, and very intrigued by it. And then after this, I think I'm going to read The Strength of a Few. So we're going to do a short book, and then we're going to go into a fat one, which I'm very excited about. But I also just really want to read this so I can be done with that world and just have all the information, have all the pieces. So I'll probably get into this soon. Okay, so it's been a couple days since I last talked to you, but I'm like halfway through Fearful. I was kind of like shitting on this and being like, it wasn't necessary, whatever, but I didn't really understand what this was about, and I think it is so interesting actually, and such a fun concept. I don't want to say too much because one of the point of views we get is a spoiler for Fearless, but we're getting Kit's point of view during Fearless, and you get a lot of background as to what was going on inside of Kit's head for the decisions that he was making, and it makes you like feel for him. And then our other point of view, we're following Mara. I don't want to say who she is or anything because that like will completely spoil the books, but that is, if you know who she is and you've read this, I think that is so fascinating. It's such a fun concept, and I'm really enjoying her point of view. We're also following Lenny and Blair in this, and we get some more information on them, which makes more sense if you've read Fearless, because you're kind of left wondering stuff with them and you figure it out in this. So I'm probably gonna finish this up today because I'm like flying through it. It's a very quick read, and it's very, very interesting, and I like that there's no stress involved because I know exactly what's going to happen because this is in the same timeline as Fearless. You're just getting some more information, and I know I said that this, I didn't think we needed it. I do. I think we did need it, so apologies for saying that. Okay, I'm quite confused with how this ended because it's kind of set up for more to keep happening, which is crazy because I feel like I just want these characters to have peace, but the way this ends, it's like more is gonna be happening. I don't know. I'm a bit confused unless she just wants to leave it like that, and it's like, okay, the world is gonna continue to go on, but we're not gonna see it. I don't know. This was really good though. I really appreciated it. I liked what we got of Lenny and Blair. That was phenomenal. I don't know how I feel about the way it completely ended. I'm a bit confused. I don't know. I feel like maybe I just need to think about it a little bit more. I'm not sure. But right now it's sitting at like 4 stars. Like, this was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna think about it a little bit more, but I think we're gonna leave it at 4 stars. I don't have many more thoughts on this because obviously I can't say much because it's a fat spoiler for the rest of the books. If you've read the Powerless trilogy and you're debating on reading this, definitely read this. I feel like it gives a lot of much needed backstory, information, point of view, perspectives that we didn't get in Fearless, and it kind of gives you some, not peace of mind, but just like an idea of what was actually going on. which is fascinating, honestly. Like, Mara's point of view and like who she is such an interesting way to do the novella. I don't know when I'm gonna start, honestly, next. I was thinking of reading The Strength of the Few, but that is a fat book, and I just don't know if I want something that long or that high fantasy at the moment. But I was also thinking about reading Wild Reverence because I love Rebecca Ross, I love Divine Rivals, and Wild Reverence is set in the same world, just thousands of years before. So I don't know. But of course, I will talk to you guys when I decide which book I want to read. Okay, so I'm 10 pages into this and I'm so confused. Obviously, I know that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be very confusing, but like, I have no idea what is happening at all. Okay, I don't know what to do about the lighting, but I am now 100 pages into The Strength of the Few, and I am thoroughly enjoying the way this is laid out and how we're finding things out. And I don't know, it's just crazy. I can't obviously say exactly what I'm trying to say because this entire book is a fat spoiler for The Will of the Many, so I can't really say because then you would know what happens at the end of The Will of the Many, and that's no fun. But if you have read The Strength of the Few, or if you've read The Will of the Many, then the way this book is laid out is so fascinating. It's just trying to pick up on like the little details to figure out what on earth is going on is crazy. Like, this is absolutely insane. There's so much happening everywhere, and I'm just like, what is going on? I'm only 100 pages in, so like 600 pages left. So what on earth is gonna happen? And I am a bit stressed about it, but we'll see what happens. I'm planning on reading a decent amount more today because I don't want to put this book down at all. It's making the time go by so fast. It's insane. Like, I keep looking at the clock and like 30 minutes have passed and I'm like, what? Because the words on the page are pretty small, and if you can see, it's like, it's a big book, so I feel like it takes me a lot longer to read one page in this compared to one page in like, obviously, like a romance, because you're digesting so much information, so much more world building, so many new names, new characters. There's just so much going on, and trying to remember what happened in The Will of the Many and like specific people and like trying to think about their place. There's just so much going on, but I'm very excited to keep going because this is just insane. It is so much later. It's literally like 10 o'clock at night, but I officially reached part 2 and I thought we could talk a little bit. I can't say too much about my thoughts because obviously spoilers, but my god, this cannot catch a break. This poor dude, like, oh my god. It is like mind-blowing the amount of stuff that is happening and what is going on, and I'm just like, oh my god, my brain feels like it's gonna implode because there is so much happening. And we're about to get into a lot more politics, which is where my brain kind of freaks out, because if you've read The Will of the Many, or you know anything about the series, like, they all have like titles for the amount of will that they receive, and that just makes things a bit confusing because it's like their title and then their name, and I'm like, okay, this this is a lot of people to keep track of, so it gets a little bit confusing with that. And if we're getting more into politics, I feel like my brain might explode. But even so, I feel like when we start talking to one of the politicians, there's always a connection made back to another character. Either it's one of Vis's friend's dads or something like that. And it helps me understand who people are. So I really enjoy the writing and the way it's making things less complicated. I'm very intrigued by what part 2 is going to entail, because there is so much going on. Like, insane. Alright, so I am over halfway through the book. Insane. There's obviously not much that I can say because spoilers. I know I've said this like 5 times already. I wish I could. I want to talk to somebody about what the heck is going on. I don't even know. I am on page 439 and there is just an absurd amount of things to keep track of. My mind feels like it might implode. But I have, look, oh, this is what I have left, which is awesome because I'm so intrigued by how whatever's gonna happen in these last 300 pages, how that's gonna lead it to 2 more books. Like, how on earth are there 2 more books? Not that everything can really wrap up at all in this, but I just genuinely don't know what's gonna happen, and I love that feeling. So we're gonna sit and we're gonna read for a little bit. Okay, I'm in my bed now to keep reading. I have 120 pages left, which is crazy, and I think I'm just gonna try to finish it all now. I took a little break because literally this book is consuming my thoughts and I can't think of anything other than this book, so I figured a break would be needed. But I'm on page 580, whatever chapter those Roman numerals are. I don't know how to read Roman numerals, so it is whatever it is. I'm very intrigued as to what's gonna happen because everything is hitting the fan and it's so stressful knowing that there's gonna be no resolution for anything because there's still 2 more books. I'm just oh my god, what's gonna happen? Because poor Vis has been through so much and he needs a break. He deserves to just be happy and chill, but that's not what's happening, obviously, because this is a high fantasy book. So also I feel like this book has been so much world building and learning new characters, and my brain is whoa, this is a lot. So I feel like I'm still so confused. I feel like I'm even gonna be confused in the 4th book too, because that's just, I feel like the way this is, I don't know if high fantasy is for me because I'm thoroughly enjoying this, but I think it's almost too much for me to get real enjoyment out. I don't know, because I've read The Will of Many and just didn't really know what to rate it for a really long time because I felt so confused. But then I don't know, not really sure honestly what I'm trying to get at, but I feel like I'm more of a, not as high fantasy. I wanted to try to read Brandon Sanderson, but that might be too high fantasy for me. I don't know, I feel like I have to try it and see, but I feel like it's also part of the more you read them, the more you get used to learning these crazy worlds and trying to understand it. The thing that I struggle with most is politics and understanding characters' names and who they are, because I can only handle so many characters at once, and there's 50 in this book, and I'm whoa. The added title in front of their name makes me so much more confused, and I feel like I'm mixing people up. Anyways, we're gonna keep reading. I have no idea what's gonna happen. Okay, it's now the next day. I've thought about the Strength of the Few a little bit more. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star. I know a lot of people are like so obsessed with these books, and I honestly just think that the majorly high fantasy might not be exactly for me. I loved this book. It was so good. I didn't want to put it down, and that's crazy for like a 700-page book. But I personally struggle so much with names and having like, there's genuinely like 30 different characters to kind of keep on the back burner of your mind, and I feel like that is just a lot for me. I think the very political aspect of it, I don't care for it. I don't care for the politics. I find it very confusing. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't give it 5 stars, and I know it's necessary. I just literally, my brain cannot keep up, and that is entirely on me. It has nothing to do with the author and his writing, because he's very talented. I can't. We had a pretty successful reading week. We read 3 books. We did Alchemy of Secrets, love that one. Fearful, love that one. Strength of Few, love that one. These new releases did not disappoint. I will probably make another one of these videos because there's still like so many more to get through, and obviously more books are going to be coming out. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!